Hey guys, welcome back to the Third Hour Podcast, where we talk about church culture and real topics within the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. My name is Mimi Bascom. I'll be your host today, and I have a very special guest. We have Lizzie Ramey. How are you, Lizzie?
I'm so great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. We're so excited to talk to you. So Lizzie is a YSA. She's living here in Utah County. We're going to get all the tea on what's happening with YSAs, talk about the age change a little bit, and we're going to react to some TikToks. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited. This will be fun.
And so you're a content creator. So tell everyone a little bit about yourself and like what kind of stuff you post about.
Totally. Yeah. So I just probably within the last year started just like pushing a ton of content more out. When I was in 6th grade, I would make YouTube videos all the time.
Oh my gosh, stop. Like, what was your niche?
I just did tons of like when the beauty vlogger thing was like big time.
Yes.
You know, so I have like skits and videos of me just like acting and like editing. Like my parents would laugh because I'd just like lock myself in my room and just like go to town editing. And so Instagram and TikTok is super fun just because it's super light, super organic, and I just get to kind of have my creative outlook and stuff, but do what I love and just show people. I have the best time doing it. It's fun.
I love that. And a lot of what you post is like running content, which like I am not a runner, but I love watching your reels of you like you've done like a marathon, you've done all these races. It's so fun to watch you like
Thank you.
Your little vlogs that you do.
Thank you.
I'm just like I'm so interested to hear like kind of how you got into running and like that kind of content too.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. When I first started posting on TikTok, actually, I was lifting in the gym a ton. So I still will lift in the gym, but that was like my niche more.
Yeah.
And I had this video of me just like flexing my trap muscles. And one person commented like, oh, she's like the trap queen or whatever.
Oh my
of her
gosh, I love that.
The base of my following started because of that, which is comical. So
Trap
funny.
queen.
Trap queen. So, and when I worked at the gym too, so then it was funny because people would see things pop up and they'd be like, that's the girl.
Oh my gosh.
And it was funny in public. Just, are you the trap queen? I'm like, I guess so. I don't know. But so I was huge into the gym, worked at the local gym here. And
which one, Vasa?
Good old Vasa University. We love it. But it was just a year ago that I signed up for a community 5K with some friends. And I did track in college. I did like a year of track. But I was a pole vaulter, fast twitch athlete. So the slow twitch endurance was just not my jam, you know. I had some friends that were wanting to do a 5K. I was so nervous. And there's video clips of us just like getting ready, hyped up in the car. We're like, we're about to run a 5K, which is just 3 miles, which is a lot, but it's not a lot for me now. So it's just kind of interesting. And we were so nervous, but we ran it. And after the race, I was like, I think I could push myself and do like a half marathon.
Oh my gosh.
It was crazy. So I started just like training for the half marathon, ended up running 13 miles after I'd ran 10 like in training one day. And I was like, I just want to see if I could just run a half. Like that wasn't too bad. And then by the time the half marathon was going, I was already in like training prep for a November marathon. So that was my first race. So I ran my first marathon in November.
Oh
and
my
then,
gosh.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Just this past November.
November was my first race. So
that's wild.
It's funny because I feel like with social media and stuff, it's all like, this is kind of my intro to running journey too. And I don't think people really know that.
No, I thought you've been running like marathons your whole life. That is crazy.
It's crazy. So I ran 2 at this point. So I've raced them. So we've gone pretty fast. I'm excited. Because April 2025 we're running the Boston Marathon, so we have a good solid group of friends that have all like pushed themselves in races, so we'll all go to Boston next year. But I ran 2, ran one in November, ran one in April, and then I'm running one in September, so super exciting.
That is so exciting.
It's so fun. It's like the best, and we are so lucky in Utah to have the mountains to run in. I think if we didn't have the mountains, it'd be so hard to motivate myself all the time.
Really?
Absolutely. It's just so much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
And we've got a solid group that will go and we'll go run. So if anyone wants to come running with us.
Yes. Not me, but anyone out there.
Anyone out there.
Yeah. Did you run today, this morning?
We did.
How far did you run?
We ran 11 miles this morning.
Shut up. I can't believe you're here and are like alive.
I'm like, I'm going to be a couple minutes late, but Like, gotta make sure I don't have sweat anywhere. I showered.
Oh my gosh.
Got all taken care of, but it was fun. I was like, we gotta go early. But
wait, that's incredible.
it was fun. Yeah.
Okay, so obviously you were like an athlete before, you were in the gym, but like I'm curious because running, I feel like, is just one of those things that like you either love it or you hate it.
Absolutely.
And I'm just curious of like that journey. Has that impacted like your spirituality at all as a Latter-day Saint? Like how has running impacted your relationship with God?
Oh, absolutely. I think there's a lot of different variables to it, and a lot of different connections and ties you can make to it. I think just especially because it's been pretty compacted. Like I've only been running like this for a year. So I feel like all of my lessons are just within the last year,
Yeah.
And so I think more surface level, like it's so awesome because it's not easy. It's like super hard. Every single run you go out, you know what you're getting yourself into, whether you're going slow or whether you're going fast, it's like you still know you got to hit the mileage. And I think just a few things, like we get to run in nature. It's beautiful outside. It's kind of disassociating yourself from the world and going and putting yourself in God's creations is one thing.
Yeah.
I think it just opens up my mind, to new things and just teaches me a ton about myself and just my body, my physical health. And that's one of our greatest gifts on earth is our bodies that we're given. And I think it just feels like, oh, I'm so grateful for my body. I just want to move my body and use my body because you only get one,
Totally.
And I think on like just a deeper level too, we're just jumping right into it. But I think you really do learn beauty in suffering. And I think for me, that's one of the biggest lessons that I learned. It was funny because I was talking to my runner friends this morning because we were like breaking it all down. But I just think about like Christ and how he suffered for our sins. And there's countless times where I've been like mile 18, mile 19 of a marathon. And I'm like, I'm losing stamina. I'm losing energy. And I am just like the lowest point you could possibly be at. You have to start pulling from your faith. You have to start being like, okay, the finish line does exist. There is something at the end. Yeah. And I think when you find yourself in a state of just like suffering, you have to have a positive outlook and you have to find optimistic and beauty in the pain and suffering. And it just totally is so eye-opening where you're like, this amount of immense pain that I'm feeling is just a minuscule ounce of what my Savior suffered for me and for all of us. And so I think thinking about it on that deeper level is super eye-opening for me. And it has really helped me to build my own personal testimony through training, through racing. It's just next level difficulty. And it's just an endurance game. And it kind of goes for anything else in life too, where we're all here. We can choose to just go on and suffer or enjoy the pain and enjoy all the lessons that we learn in life. So that's probably what I would say.
Oh my gosh. Like there were so many great things that you had in the answer. That's awesome. No, and it's totally like enduring to the end. And I feel like you can look at it like, oh, okay, I just have to endure every single day that I'm here. Or it's like you said, like looking for the positives in that experience. I was just listening to a talk this morning it was like an old one, but it was talking about how the root word for discipline is the same like root in the word disciple.
I love
that.
Like,
if we're disciples, do we not have to have that discipline? And was Christ not so disciplined when he was here fulfilling his mission? So I love that. And I love like the lessons you've been able to take from your running journey. I still can't believe it's been only a year.
It's been amazing. And there's so many more where that came from. I feel like just because it puts you in a very just vulnerable spot where I think sometimes even in my videos too, people are like, you guys look like you're just having a good time. I'm like, we do, but a lot of times you don't see the moments where we're like, today was hard, you know? Today was gruesome. It was brooding, and we were borderline tears in some races that we ran. And so a lot of times people don't really see just like the raw vulnerability of like what it really is, but that's also what's so amazing about it.
Totally.
I love it.
Oh my gosh. And I have a video I want to watch of yours later where you kind of talk about like, you're like this, I had such a hard day. And I think while it is so good to like point out like our vulnerabilities and like everyone's human, like I just love your positive outlook on life and on running. When you're running, I'm like, that looks miserable, but she's smiling and it looks like they're having a great time. And I think that just goes to show like it really is what you make of it.
We do. And it is so awesome. You always hear if you want to run fast, you got to go alone. But if you want to run far, you got to go together. So what you got to do? What we've learned is you got to find the right people that want to go fast and then run together with them because they'll take you further than anything else. So it's been such a blessing just having like the running community that we do have here.
Yeah.
It's huge in Utah and it's amazing. So
that's
I love
so
it.
Cool. So is it just like, did you happen to make friends with people who are also into running or like how did that happen?
It's funny because I had a few friends that were runners. A lot of my first race, I basically ran it alone. I had a couple of my guy friends, so awesome, and they ran and started the race with me at the top, but they're crazy fast. Those guys are quick. And so I had them, but a couple of my really close girlfriends that I run with now, I met them after my first marathon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we knew each other through social media. So it's pretty funny. I'm like, that is a blessing too, having just social media and I started posting my own stuff. And then I got injured right before that race. And so we were like DMing and they're like, they've ran more marathons than me too. So they have a little bit more experience. They're like, try this, try this, try this. And then at the end of the race, it's funny because we have like a picture of all of us together. And then I saw them running in the canyon and it was like completely snowy. And they said, hey, you should come train with us for this next race. And so then we started training.
In the snow.
In the snow. It was so funny.
Oh,
so then,
my gosh.
The whole winter training block, we would wake up early in the morning and it'd be a blizzard outside.
You're kidding.
But because we had each other, it was like, okay, we're going. We're going to meet you guys at the top and we'll run down and it's going to be great. Like some of my best memories were those early mornings, just nobody's in the mountains.
Yeah.
Like it's just us against the world.
Was it not like icy? Like were you not dying? That's crazy.
Some days it would be. We'd have to like definitely check it for sure. We had our funny little they're called yak tracks, and so you put them on there.
Is that like snow tires?
Pretty much. It's pretty much like going winter mode on our shoes. But you just like strap them on, and then so sometimes we would wear those, and just depending on the weather. But I don't know if you know, but Utah winters are brutal.
Oh,
I'm sure you know.
Yes.
You've lived here your whole life, right?
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's why I'm like, my mind is blown that like that's dedication. And I love you said like having the people there. It's like it wasn't even a question. Like when you have your people, you're like, we're going.
Yeah. If you're going, I'm going too, right? We're there for each other. And then through that and just different experiences too, we've just like brought in new people and gone on runs with tons of friends and run clubs, and it's just so fun. I love it. And I think it's because we're all doing the same hard thing together, you know?
Totally.
It's different
it's
than
like bonding.
Oh, it's absolutely bonding. We always are like, it feels like book club, but less books, more miles, right?
Oh my gosh. No, I love that. And I feel like right now we hear so much about like the loneliness epidemic, and especially with like younger generations, it's so hard to like make friends and meet people. And I feel like having a common interest like that, like really makes it. So find your people. It could be run club, it could be book club, whatever you do. And don't be afraid to reach out on social media. I love that.
I know. It's funny
who doesn't need a friend? Like who doesn't want someone to reach out to them? No one's gonna turn that away.
Absolutely not. No, it's so fun. I've loved it. It was such a blessing too. Kind of funny how we all came together, but now it's like a few times a week, almost it's been pretty consistent, which has been good, especially just getting ready for these next races. So yeah, it's fun. Great way to start your day. Get moving, get going. It's the best.
I love that. And you're not native to Utah, right? So you moved here from Idaho a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I'm curious. I know there's a lot of members in Idaho, but like, what was your experience moving to Utah like?
Oh, my experience moving to Utah. It's funny because I feel like being out of state, I mean, you hear all like the Utah stigmas and everything.
yeah.
You're like, okay, let's see if these are true. Or
Was your like opinion of Utah negative before you came here?
I was super excited to move here. I
Okay.
had like cousins here growing up. And
Uh-huh.
so it was always kind of, if we weren't doing a family reunion, it was like, oh, we'll go on a trip to Utah and go visit our cousins.
Yeah.
And so I like kind of knew a chunk of people down here, but I
Okay.
basically moved down just like no family, just kind of on my own, and did the whole dorm situation, and then the whole college. I just did college for the year, but I have totally loved living in Utah. And it's funny, just I think my hobbies and like communities and everything behind what is in Utah is so different than Idaho. And I think Idaho will always just feel like home.
Yeah.
It's the Idaho, but it's just totally different. Like my family's all there and I love it, but being like a young adult in Utah is so much fun. Like there's so much to do.
Yeah.
Just the whole gym culture and community, just the fitness IQ in general. Everyone is big gym goers or runners. And so you get this niche group of people that you don't get anywhere else, you know,
totally.
or members of the church that just have strong faith, very disciplined people. And I love it just because I feel like you can find your group, you can find your people. It's way easier. And it's totally different than what you get anywhere else. And I think a lot of people, even in Utah, don't fully understand until you step out of Utah.
Right.
You know, you focus on the negatives. You're like, blah,
Oh,
blah, blah, this,
totally.
blah, 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 that. And when you step out, and even just as I've like moved away different times since I've lived in Utah, coming back was always like, I love it here. And maybe it's personal, but I feel like my energy is the best when I'm in Utah just because I'm doing what I love.
No, I could not agree more. Like, I feel like so many people complain about Utah, but it's like, let's also look at the positives. There's so many great things about living here. And especially as a young adult, like I loved my college years. Like I was in Salt Lake for a little while and then I was in Provo. And like, I absolutely love, like you just find your community, you find your people. There's people like with all different kinds of interests. Like you just find them and it's like the best time. So
right. Even just like the entrepreneur world too.
Yeah.
Like it's like Silicon Slopes out here. Seriously.
Oh my gosh,
it's
literally.
awesome.
There's
it's
like
cool.
it's like the best state to start a business. Like it's, we are in a great place. It's clean. Like there's so many great things. I get so annoyed by everyone dissing on Utah. And like, sure, we have our quirks.
Yes.
We have our weird things. Like no one's going to take that away.
I know.
Like that's there.
It's the Utah core.
Yes. But it's like, let's embrace the good too. So that's a very refreshing take.
Absolutely.
Okay. Ooh, I had another fun question for you. So, and you grew up a member, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to know, what is your favorite primary birthday song?
Primary birthday song?
Yeah. There's like
a few.
There's a couple options.
I
I feel like it
feel
will
like-
tell us a lot about you. What one you pick?
I feel like maybe it was just me growing up, but I feel like I didn't realize there were so many.
I don't know. I think there's maybe there's like 3.
Okay.
I don't know.
The one that comes to mind when you said that is I'm a terrible singer. It's like, you had a birthday, shout hooray.
Hey.
Na, 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 na. 1 year older and wiser too. Happy birthday to you.
Yes, classic.
So I don't know. What are the other ones?
That is the only one that I
was like,
can
my
think of
favorite
right now.
primary
I
song.
feel like,
I'm like, happy
because like, don't the kids go up and
birthday
say
to
like what birthday song they want, or like I feel like there's different ones.
I know. I need to go spend some time in a primary classroom and see if I can
literally like
remember.
No, that's on me. I should have looked this up before.
I'm like, what are the other
I'm
ones?
That's the one that comes to mind.
What was the go-to? You get your little gift bag and then you go sit back down. It's the best time of the year.
Gosh, literally. I have to say, my mom was in primary and I went and visited her ward once and they did the cutest thing. I had never seen this. Maybe you did this in Idaho, but at the end of the song, all the kids held their hands up like this. And they were candles.
Cute.
And then the kids in the front, that it was their birthday, they would like blow out the candles.
Cute.
And then is that not the cutest?
That's cute.
I know. I love that.
That makes me want to have children. Not right now. Not yet.
I know, you've got time, girl.
I know. I always am like-
Enjoy the phase you're in.
I'm always like, I can wait, or I can't wait. Then I'm wait, I actually can.
Yeah.
Definitely can wait.
It's like being a mom has been the biggest blessing, but I'm also like so grateful for like the fun, like college single years I had.
Totally.
It's like you just embrace.
You got to enjoy
what
the
you're
present
in.
time.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And so speaking of that, so tell me a little bit about like YSA culture out here. Like when you first moved to Provo, what was it like your first time going into a Provo singles ward?
Provo singles ward. My first Provo singles ward was on BYU campus.
Okay.
So,
was it in one of the BYU classes?
Yes. Yes. And so you get the whole BYU experience. But I loved my ward there. It was great. Super fun. Super welcoming, and it was just super interesting, I think, growing up in a family ward. I also moved out here when I was 17. So my birthday's in September. I've always been very young for my grade.
Me too.
Really?
I'm in November.
So you're Virgo?
Same. Yeah. No, not Virgo.
You're not a Virgo. You're the next one then.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know astrology that well, but
I don't either. I just know that's what I am. I'm like, that's all I know. But I moved out here when I was 17, and so a little bit earlier, so everything was a little new for me.
Totally. We were like babies back then. Like I can't imagine my 17-year-old self like going into a singles ward is crazy.
I know. It was funny. I remember I wanted to get a gym membership on campus, and there was a line for people that were 18 and up, and then a line for people under 18. And I go stand in the line under 18.
I remember to get like a parent signature.
There were all these like cute boys in the other one, and I was like, I don't want to have to call my mom to ask for a gym membership.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
So funny. Or being on first dates and being like, I'm 17. They're like, but it was great. But the wards down here are great. They're so awesome. And I just think it's super cool. You learn so much just being surrounded by people with the same faith as you, your age. And growing up, I feel like Idaho in a lot of areas feels a lot like Utah. But the area that I grew up, it just didn't feel that much like Utah. I was more in the city of Boise. And I had smaller seminary classes for sure. So I think being out here in Utah was super cool and just a big change where I'm like, everyone's a member and there's so many amazing people out here. And it is cool just to kind of be surrounded by people that you already know, like they have the same faith as me, you know, just easier to connect, I feel like in a lot of ways.
There's that common ground. It's like, yeah.
And then it's also been super cool even meeting people that have different beliefs and faith as me too, because then you hear their perspectives and it's just a cool community for sure. But the wards are awesome. I love it. So that was the first one I was in. Then I was in another one in Orem. Loved that one too. And yeah, now I'm in a different one. So it's been fun.
I'm so glad to hear that. I know I always loved like my YSA wards and my experience in them. I'm curious. So you must have heard about the recent change.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull it up here. We have like a little the newsroom thing from the church. So the church adjusted the range of ages for what it considers YSAs and then single adults. I can't believe they're using SA, by the way. That's actually crazy. That should not be the official abbreviation, but moving on. So basically, they got rid of the mid-singles. So So right now, young single adult is unmarried members between 18 and 35, and then single adult is 36 and older. I believe it used to be like 18 to 30, and then I think it was like 30 to like 50, and then like 50 and up. So they dissolved that middle group. What are your thoughts on having, and then another thing that they didn't clarify in this post, but they said when the numbers are there, so like I'm thinking heavily member populated areas like Utah, they will split from 18 to 26 and then 26 to 35. But I want to get like, what was your impression when this news came out?
It's very interesting because I feel like in all of everybody's heads, it's like, well, when it comes to dating, like that's weird because I feel like if your wards are split, but then I think you kind of have to go to the root of it. You're like, the reason they do YSA wards isn't to match people up and play matchmaker. It's like to meet people and I thought that was a cool perspective.
Totally. Just be with people in the same like stage of life as you. Totally. That's the whole point.
Totally. It is interesting because my ward, I'm almost 21. So I'm definitely on the younger side of my ward in just the area I live in. A lot of my friends are 26, 27, 28. And so that's going to be an interesting split and kind of just to see how that works.
Yeah.
I also believe it's like divine intervention too, where it's like there's obviously a reason why they feel the need to separate it.
Mm-hmm.
But I am curious to see how they go about it, and especially wards that already have like great bonds or strong bonds with big age gaps. It's going to be interesting to kind of see how they split up too, you know?
Yeah, word splits are always tough. So
I know.
that will be interesting.
It's funny too, because I have some friends that are like 25-year-old girls, and they're like, it'll be interesting to be in a ward with 18-year-old boys too.
Right.
You know, like but I guess that's what it has been also.
Yeah.
But just not with the older group.
Right.
So,
right. They'll be at the top end then.
Yeah.
See, I feel like it's always got to be hard to be like right at the bottom or right at the top of that line.
It feels like when you graduated from primary to young women's.
Yeah.
I was talking to a couple of friends about this the other day. I was like, it feels like you're graduating from young men's to young women's, and you have a couple of your friends that like go, and then you're stuck and you got to go sing in the primary program. Yes. And all your friends are looking at you, and you're like the tallest of all of them.
Right. There's
You've
nothing
like
more embarrassing.
Gone through puberty already.
Yes. They're like making you the narrator. You're like, please, I can't.
I'm really doing the most here. But all those thoughts that came to my head, I was like, it'll be interesting to see like if just kind of how the callings work and just the dynamics of the ward, to see if there's a change or an adjustment there.
Totally.
Especially being in a ward where it is like 35-year-olds in my ward right now. And I mean, I'm at the bottom more. I'm like 20. I'm 20 right now. I'll be 21 here soon. But
yeah,
it's crazy.
See, and that's so interesting because like the comments were popping off. So people are kind of freaking out. So you're telling me that my 18-year-old daughter is going to be hit on by 35-year-old men? Not a fan.
Yeah.
And I just like, I mean, that's valid. Of course, like we want people to feel comfortable, especially in a church setting. But I feel like right now, is it that different? Because right now there could be 18-year-olds in wards with 30-year-olds. You're 20 and you're in a ward with like older 20s and 30-year-olds. Like, have you felt like, has that been kind of relevant in your experience?
I think especially because the dating culture is huge down in Utah, it's natural for us to just associate going to church with that's your dating pool, kind of, you know?
Right, because like that's how we're meeting people.
Exactly. And so I think a lot of people's quick reactions were because of that culture and community that's created.
Totally.
And where that's not their goal. I don't think the prophets got together and were like, this is what we're going to do. Right. You know, the prophets and apostles, but just for dating purposes. Like, it's very interesting. But I don't know. It'll be unique to kind of see how everything comes together for sure. But I personally haven't noticed, like, it's not weird. I feel like to have older guys in my ward, as long as they don't make it weird and there's not a strange dynamic there either. Because even I hear stories of people with huge age gaps married all the time. And that's great. But I don't think the goal of the change is so your 18-year-old can go out with a however-year-old, you know?
Totally. And like I said, I get the concern. And I do also get like the culture. I feel like I have been in YSA wards where it did very much feel like, okay, like this is like you're supposed to link up with everyone here. Yeah. But I feel like you look at the intention of like what the YSA ward is, and it's to have people in the similar stage of life. And I think that's why they want to split like 18 to 26 and then whatever, 26 to 35. Yeah. Because like that, the younger age range, a lot of them are like in college. And then after that, it's like they're usually graduated from college. And like everyone's story is different, obviously. But I think it is just to put people together that like can relate to one another.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I totally get, I feel like that's a lot of the concern, like,
please don't be the 35-year-old trying to date the 18-year-old. It is funny to me that everybody goes directly towards dating though.
Right. Because that's totally like, that's been the culture. But I think obviously, like you said, the prophet wasn't like, okay, this is how we're going to get people together more.
No.
I think, I don't know. So we'll see.
I wonder if people think it feels more like, I don't know, just because growing up we'll be like put in different age categories and groups and stuff. So I wonder if as an adult there's just such a broad, like there's been such a broad YSA, right? Like what is a young single adult? And then to be put in categories, I wonder if people are like concerned just about like not degressing, but just feeling like we're putting people into categories instead of having it just be open and welcoming for everyone. So I wonder if that's kind of a concern too.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And I feel like YSA wards, like moving your records to a YSA ward, that's always been optional too.
Mm-hmm.
Like people always have the option of still going to a family ward if they want to. And I know people have concerns about like the 36 and older crowd, like, but like I think it's always up to them and like what they feel good about. So we'll just have to see. I think obviously like people are going to voice their opinions, and I think it's great that we have a place that we can kind of see where people are at. But I think we also should have trust in the prophet that like this was a divine change. Otherwise it wouldn't have happened.
Right.
So we'll see. And I did hear from a couple people like, oh, I was in a pilot, like my ward was a pilot test for this and like it went great. So we'll just have to see. We'll give it a few years and
it'll be interesting.
I'll have to follow up with you and see
how
you like it.
See how it goes.
That will be interesting in your ward with like having a lot of people on the older end. I wonder if they'll split it all.
I know. Our ward just got split too, so it's smaller. So I'm like, I wonder if they would redo everything.
And that's like a lot of work too. Like that's
work.
Crazy.
And then going into people's records and how old is this person? How old is this person?
Right.
Be interesting.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'll follow up with you and you'll have to let me know. Another thing that happened recently was the Utah YSA Conference. And I know you went to a little part of that. Can you explain like kind of what that was and what your experience was like?
Yeah, I don't know too much about the whole experience, but I didn't even realize it was like such a big thing.
Right.
But I did go to the devotional that the Uchtdorfs gave.
Cool.
So amazing. They're the best. They're also the cutest, most precious people ever. Like she got up there, Sister Uchtdorf went up there and she just goes off about how much they love each other. And I was like, this is perfect and the dream, honestly.
Literally.
So sweet, so cute. But I think it's so cool because what is it Elder Uchtdorf? No, I'm like, what's the formal? Elder. Yeah. Elder Uchtdorf. Yeah. He got up there, Elder Uchtdorf got up, and he just talks all about the For Strength of Youth pamphlet.
Oh, cool.
And it was super cool. And something that I've noticed a lot in the church recently is just simplifying everything. You know, I think it's super easy to get lost in the sauce sometimes, right?
Oh, totally.
And we do a lot of our own personal study and everything too, but I was so intrigued by, he just kind of got up there and was like, keep it simple. Keep reading your scriptures, keep going to church, keep doing those things, stay close to Christ, stay close to God. I challenge you to read the For Strength of Youth pamphlet and just make it center to you. Make Christ the absolute center of your life. And I went home and I took the invitation and I opened up the For Strength of Youth pamphlet and I was like, everything in here I already know. You know, like this is like primary principle that we learn from a super young age. But it seriously shows you just got to go back to the basics, simplify it, and stay close to Christ and keep your covenants, and you're going to be okay. I loved it.
I love that so much. Like sometimes that's all we need to hear.
Absolutely.
Is like you're on the right track. Keep it simple. You don't need to overcomplicate things. And I'm so curious to hear too, because you were a youth when the pamphlet switched.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on the new For Strength of Youth pamphlet?
I think just kind of similar too, where it is very simple, you know, and they focus a ton on our own personal agency, which is one of our greatest gifts on earth. And we do have the power to choose and decide our own lives. And I think with the For Strength of Youth pamphlet, the new one, it's totally apparent that that's the goal and that's the motive is be your own judge, but cling close to good and you will absolutely be blessed for your decisions. And I love that. I also loved, he made a note about anxieties that I wanted to touch on too, just because I feel like kind of with the loneliness epidemic also, I've struggled personally with just like anxiety for no control of like the future. You know, I don't know what's going to happen in my personal life. And he addressed it to the whole congregation. I thought it was so cool because it made me realize that I'm not alone in this. And I get nervous about the future and I get anxious about the future and everything in that pamphlet. When I went home, I was like, this is great stuff. You know, I might not have all the answers, but there's a lot of great insight here. And it's totally just simplifying what we know and what we do every day. and personalize it to make it our own. And I think in the For Strength of Youth pamphlet, at least the new one, it's totally online with that.
Yeah. You're so right. And I love just like building the idea of building our testimony on these principles and like no matter what comes at us, we'll be okay.
Everything's going to be okay.
It's so crazy to think about too. Like, I feel like the trauma that we all got from COVID, because like that put major wrenches in a lot of our plans. And it makes sense why I feel like so many people in the younger generation have so much anxiety for the future.
Absolutely.
It's because like we saw like what happened with that. And it's like, okay, is something big going to happen again?
That's a good point.
It's so hard to like really know which way our life is going to go. But and I like have struggled with that a lot too, because like I'm such a planner and like I want to have everything sorted, know what I'm doing, and my life has not gone the way that I thought it would at all, but it's also been better than I could have ever planned myself. And I feel like I'm so grateful for my testimony and like God has a plan for me.
Absolutely.
Because it's hard to like let go of that control sometimes, but knowing that he is there and he has control, that's what makes a difference.
I know. I'm similar in that way too, where I want control over a lot of things and how I plan and attack things and do things. So then when my plans shift, I'm like, okay, got to learn how to bounce back, got to learn how to be flexible.
Right.
And it's really cool when you take a step back and be like, nah, this is all good. This is God's plan for me, you know?
Right.
So I'm just going to run with it until something else shifts me again. And so seriously, all you can do is just stay close to Christ and stay close to what you know, the good things, and you'll be aligned exactly where you need to be. But faith is the core, for sure.
Yes, yes. Oh, I love that so much. That kind of goes along with the next thing I wanted to talk to you about. Obviously, like living in today's world is so crazy. Like I feel like what is normal in the world has never been so far from like our doctrine and what the church teaches and what the gospel of Jesus Christ is.
Absolutely.
And it's just like getting further and further, which is making it so much harder and harder. So what would your advice be to like fellow young adults who are just trying to like get by and stay faithful in the gospel?
I think a big thing is grace. And I've been learning a ton about grace, and I think just where we fall short, and it's easy to feel those stresses, those anxieties of life also. And grace is such a powerful thing too, because it's like what heals us after we go through the repentance process, the atonement and everything. And it's so easy to just feel so bogged down by the world, you know, by society, by culture, by just the nastiness that is in the world. It's sometimes harder to find the light than how easy it is to find like the darkness.
Yeah.
And I think something that I've learned is just cling really close to goodness. And I think my personal testimony is really based on the foundation of my faith, and just, you got to have optimism, you got to have faith, and you got to know like there is something good in store for me. It's working in my life every single day, and it's personalized to my life. And you almost have to disassociate yourself and take yourself out of everyone else, you know, and know and understand that your plan is personal, and your plan, your trials and challenges are going to be different than your neighbors, you know? So your own personal testimony, my own personal testimony, is based off of my own experiences, my own thoughts, my own decisions, and good decisions and bad decisions, and ones that probably could have been better. So I think coming back to everything is just the biggest thing that I could say is build your own personal testimony and strengthen it and make it strong and unique to you. And your own testimony is never going to be the same as somebody else's testimony. And that's the beauty in having a close personal relationship with God.
Oh,
and
I love that.
That's going to take you a million more miles than sticking around and being anxious and fearful of the future. And I think it is totally true that faith and fear are opposites.
Yeah.
You know, if we dwell too much in the unknown, the fear, then my stomach's like, if we dwell too much in the fear.
I mean, it's not like he ran 11 miles.
I'm like,
this
I need carbs. No. If we dwell too much just on the negative and the fear of life, then it's super easy to spiral.
Totally.
Super easy to spiral. And getting yourself out of that hole when you already feel like you've spiraled is way harder than trying to stay level-headed and understanding and learning from mistakes, trials, hard things, and getting through them, enduring through them, and then seeing the light at the end of the tunnel and believing that every single one of us is deserving of feeling the light of Christ.
Love that so much. And I'm thinking about like this fear and like thinking back about when I was your age and like going through life. I feel like a lot of that fear and anxiety came from like comparison with other people, because I'd be like, okay, well, I'm doing this, but these people are they're here. And so like, how do you deal with comparison?
Yeah, it's definitely not easy. And I think being in a culture and community, this might be more the Utah side that isn't always the best.
Totally.
Is naturally, I think most of us compare subconsciously, or maybe we're aware of it, but it's super easy, especially when you're surrounded by people that have the same beliefs as you, kind of the same alignment, morals. Everyone's trying to date. It's super easy to get way down on yourself and be like, she's prettier, she's cooler, she's smarter, he's more successful than me, he's got more money, he's got more swag, more game, you know, it's just kind of, it's so natural and so easy. You have to learn to love yourself. And I think for me too, just doing things that like running, for example, where I show up for myself, that builds self-confidence, and I learn to love myself, and I learned so much about my shortcomings and so much about my strengths. And you just have to understand, like, I am a daughter of God. They're a daughter of God. He's a son of God. And all of us are just trying to figure out this thing we call life. So yeah, I think you got to learn to love yourself and just literally become your very best friend. Become your best friend, your biggest cheerleader, your biggest teacher, honestly. Because out of anyone in life, you're stuck with yourself forever, you know?
It's so true.
So if you're just in self-doubt and self-pity all the time, it's kind of the same as like, same effect as like having faith or having fear in life. It's like you can choose to move forward with your head up, held high, and just do you, be the best version of you, or wallow in, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not this, I'm not that.
Right. I love that so much. And I feel like something people so often say is like, treat yourself like your best friend would. And I love that. I love it. Like taking a step further, it's like, why don't we treat ourselves and look at ourselves like our heavenly parents do? Because there's no one who loves us more perfectly and also understands us more perfectly. They know all of our flaws. They know every thought that goes through our head and still love us. And so
isn't it wild to think that there's somebody that knows us better than we even know ourselves?
Yeah, no, it's wild.
Crazy.
Like, I think about my husband because I feel like he knows me like better than I do, but like having someone even love me and know me better than that, it's like, it's actually mind-blowing.
Yep.
So I love what you said though, like just be your own biggest cheerleader. And sometimes it's hard, but it's like remembering that there's someone who is, I feel like helps us remember that it's possible. So
and cultivating the self-love. I feel like sometimes there is a stigma where it's like, okay, get it, we love ourselves, like you gotta love yourself,
right?
Just that, like, okay, whatever, you hear it over and over again. It's so true though.
It really is. And it's not just like bath bombs. It's like you need to love yourself and take care of yourself, like positive self-talk, and like, you know what I mean? Like
find your strengths, capitalize on the strengths, find your weaknesses, see how you can pick them up, and you know, treat it like a project. You're like, here I am. Love every stage.
Yes.
You know? Love every stage, because we're changing human beings.
Oh,
we're not perfect human beings.
Yeah.
We're changing human beings.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny you said that, because something I was thinking about the other day was like, oh my gosh, when I was younger, I was just so cringe. Like I just did not like who I was. Like I hate looking back at, first of all, I had eyebrow blindness, but that's besides the point.
I did too. Literally. Those YouTube videos I was talking about at the beginning.
Yes. Oh my
I'm
gosh.
Like, I posted that on the internet.
Right? But it's like, if we don't look back, who was I talking? I was talking to one of my friends about this, but they're like, if we don't look back and like cringe on how we were, it's like, then we wouldn't have proof that we're growing. And like,
oh yeah.
so I'm just so happy. Like sometimes I think I'm like, maybe I'm at this stage in life where finally I won't look back in 5 years and like cringe on myself. But like, hopefully I do,
like,
because that means I'm growing as a person. So
that's a great thought.
I love that.
I love it. Yeah, you can take it two ways, you know?
Totally.
I was weirdo, or I made it through that weird stage.
Right?
What other weird stages can I make it through?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. That's such great advice. Let us know too, like if you're in the trenches too, like any other advice for people who are going through it, because we all are right now.
We're
honestly.
all going through
Who's
it.
not?
Right.
Okay. Another thing I wanted to do with you was react to like some popular reels and TikToks that are going on right now. Cause like, it's so funny. I feel like the church has just been in so many headlines and like so much lately. So we're going to pull some of these up and I want to get your takes.
Okay, can I give it to you? Best book in the world, it will change your life.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
hey.
Thank you.
Several days.
Hey, you're good at it. You must have crushed it.
Hey, 2 years in Seattle, I mean, I got it down, so. That was his face.
With the swinging hand,
I think the best part of that video is he's still got his tag on.
I know.
He's with his family. He's like, what a way to cap off your mission.
Literally. Okay, I have the backstory on this, which I think is so fun. So this is the videos from the missionary's mom.
Okay.
So he was arriving in the St. George airport. Post Malone was there and saw his family gather around and was like, what's going on? And they were like, oh, our son's getting home from his mission, whatever. So like he was already like in the loop. And then I guess he saw him when he was going back through security, ran over. That was his last Book of Mormon to give out. Is that not the craziest story? So who knows? Maybe we'll hear Posty getting baptized in a little bit.
Hey,
that would
I mean, he's been a Utah guy for a minute.
Right? Why isn't he a member yet?
I don't know.
Like, what's going on?
He's asking for it, honestly. I love it.
And
I love him in his pajamas. Post Malone
iconic.
in his pajamas.
In the St. George airport. I'm like, that is the craziest.
Post Malone just looks like the nicest man in the world,
oh my
too.
gosh, I know.
Just
the
genuine.
fact that he's like, oh, what's going on over here? There's like people gathered. I want to know what's going on.
I know.
Is so cute.
He goes, you're good at it, too.
Oh my gosh, I know. Like whether he reads it or not, like he was so respectful. He was so kind.
I love it.
That makes me love him more.
And his reaction, he's like,
I know his face.
That was the craziest thing that's ever happened. Just
this,
like
needs
I
to
couldn't
be on
even imagine.
every resume, his LinkedIn. Like I would never let this go.
It's the best that it's Post Malone too.
Yes.
Just because he's the Utah guy.
Yes.
You know, I've seen so many like Post Malone sighting here, Post Malone.
Oh my gosh, I
here.
know.
So that makes me happy. That's so fun.
Me too.
He's hyped.
We just need him to join the church now.
Literally.
But
Leave
even if he
that
doesn't,
thing.
we still love him.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, this one is interesting.
Okay.
This image came to them in the 1960s, I do believe, from somebody who said that they were relatives of the Smith family,
This is a new
but
picture
there
of
is no
Joseph Smith.
provenance. So we had to use technology to analyze it to see if it was. Then here's some of the examination helping people see. There's the skull over the photograph. Here's the oil painting of Joseph, the daguerreotype in the middle, the death mass. He's missing a lot up there on the top of his head.
Yes.
Remember, when he was mobbed, when they put tar on him, they pulled out his hair from the roots, and it never grow back then.
Crazy.
And then also,
What?
when they tried to shove the vial of poison down his mouth, they broke his teeth.
Yes.
And there's a slight indentation, or should be, where a scar is on part of his lips, which we see here. This is 98% matches up to the anatomy of Joseph.
Okay, is that?
Oh.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
So who found this picture? Or
I
was
don't. I think it was like a relative,
Okay.
and they like just came out with this. But I'm like,
Crazy.
we're probably not going to get a lot of like new pictures. I'm like, this is crazy that we
Right.
even are getting
And
a
we're
new picture
finding
in
new.
2024.
That's crazy.
Isn't that wild?
That's super interesting.
I feel like that's almost not what I expect him to look like, but
I
like,
know.
because we had that oil painting that they showed. I
Yep.
feel like that's how I always pictured of him.
Right. And we all have the same picture of him because of that.
Yeah,
That's interesting. I wonder.
I know. I guess we'll have to wait and see what he looks like, but
I
a
know.
photograph. I mean, that's pretty.
I know.
Like that could be
And
the
just
most
the
accurate
analysis.
thing we have. Yeah, it seems to them like it's pretty accurate. So
Cool.
Fun.
Kind of cool. Kind of new.
We need some new oil paintings.
Right?
To match
They'll look
this
like that.
description. Okay, this one I just loved.
This week, a hot new bombshell enters the villa.
I'm Tiffany, and I'm from Draper, Utah. I am looking for love, but I will settle for Instagram followers on my hair extension and/or photography business. Hey, girlie, I don't want to be rude, but you have a wedgie right now, and I just thought you should know. Oh, it's supposed to be like that. Oh, okay. Wait, you guys don't have Stanleys? A lot of people think that because I'm from Utah, I'm this clueless, know-nothing girl, but I've actually been divorced twice.
Aren't you only 24?
Yep. Oh my heck, Leah, why don't we just share him? You know, growing up, my dad had like 10 wives. Oh my heck, you work in sales? Oh, I know so many people. Do you know Tanner Smith? Okay, Jackson Smith? Jackson Thomas? Jackson Thompson. I don't think I can do a Nick Mo on camera because I have like 300 cousins watching and I don't want to set a bad example. My heck, if we won, I would use the prize money to get a golden doodle and a $700,000 soulless white starter home in Daybreak, Utah.
So funny. So good,
The
right?
Utah spins. I am dead. Honestly, she's pretty spot on.
Right. Okay, what's the most accurate part?
Oh, I don't know. I like the spelling just to the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Because Utah's got the crazy spelling.
Literally.
I don't know why. Do you know why
It's-
at all?
No.
What's the reason for that?
I saw a video the other day. It was like talking about how celebrities kind of started the unique name thing.
Okay, yeah.
And then now it's like influencers. And now I think it's just everyone in Utah.
I
does
know.
it.
I'm like, is that actually how you want to spell it? Or is it just because it's different?
Right.
I think about that a lot.
I know.
That's so funny.
I
the-
saw that. I'm like, that was perfect.
I know, spot on. The sales guy thing is funny too.
You work in sales?
You work in sales? Do you know the Smiths? The Jackson Smith? Jackson, the names. It's like, could be 100 different people.
Right.
So
Okay, you're a
funny.
gym girly.
Yeah.
Are you opposed to dating summer sales bro?
So
What
I
are your
just got
thoughts?
back from sales.
Did you?
I had to try it out myself. I did the
Yeah.
whole Provo summer sales thing.
Uh-huh.
I
How
was
was
like,
it?
Provo gym goer, Provo sales guy. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, wasn't for me.
Okay.
I think I learned so much
Yeah.
about myself. I learned so much about it all. It's a very awesome culture in so many ways, like so many entrepreneurs and
Yeah.
just like some of the best people I've known are on that sales team and just lots of sales teams that I've been a part of.
Yeah.
It just is a different world.
Totally.
Absolutely. And I think just for my personal skills, I'm like, I think I would rather go a different direction than the summer sales bro, but I love him and I have so much respect for him.
Oh, totally.
Are we going to talk about that? Because girls, not going to lie, a lot of girls are like, oh, he's another summer sales bro. You hear that all the
but
time,
like
do you?
Oh, totally. But the dedication it
Unreal.
takes.
Unreal.
No, literally. Like, I feel like people, again, it's like people hate so much,
Mhm.
but it's like to actually go out and do that. Like, you're really putting yourself out there.
They're insane.
They
Like,
work
and
so
the guys
hard.
that do really well, it's almost like doesn't even compute in my head
Yeah.
because they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
Great guys.
I
Feels like
love
a
the hot takes we're getting.
I know. I'm like, I was in that. I know the sales world, but it's crazy.
Oh
It's
my
awesome.
gosh. No, I love that you're like, I got to try it out. I'm already a Vasa girl. I'm
I'm
going
like,
to be
might
one
as well
of
at
them.
least try. You never know if you never try. But
Right? Where
lots
did
of
you
lessons.
go?
I was in Chicago.
Oh my gosh. How fun.
It was cool. Cool city for sure.
I love
I had a lot of
Chicago.
interesting experiences with random strangers, but
Yeah.
it is a very vulnerable job because you're up there and you got to be persistent. You got to
Mm-hmm.
keep going. And I was selling pest control. So you make and close the deal right there on the doorstep.
Yeah.
But I'm not a super pushy person. And I found that as a weakness in that job. Not pushy. There's a lot of very persistent. Persistence, the word. But it's just super awkward for me to be
Yeah.
just like, are you sure? Like, how about, what if we try this? You know?
Totally.
Super uncomfortable
Handling
for
the
me, but-
objections.
But the ones that do it, they got some thick skin and they are
Mhm.
rocking and rolling.
Yes.
Love it for them.
No, I love it. I did sales too. I did it locally, but same
Okay.
thing. Like, I have so much respect. I think it's
Yeah.
funny because it is like it's a different culture, and I get
Totally.
like the cockiness. I feel like is what turns people off, and like I make more money in a summer than your dad makes in a year. Like, I get it. It can be lucrative, but I think it also, like, it takes a lot to do it.
So much. I'm like, I understand why this is only a 4-month shindig.
Right.
Because it's aggressive.
Totally.
And the benefits of
out.
having the whole rest of the year are awesome.
Yes, right? I know you work in the summer, then you can chill.
Yep.
I loved that.
Love that.
Okay. This one is so funny.
Hear about a new translation out called the Gen Z Bible, where someone had taken the scriptures and translated it into Gen Z language. Now, I'm going to read part of this. I do want to let you know I would never dishonor God's word. I have triple checked this to make sure this is exactly what Luke 1 communicates when the angel talks to Mary. Check this out. Mary was a pick-me girl for God and was simping for him in prayer when the angel Gabriel appeared to her and said, "Ayo, you're a real one and the top G is feeling you." But she thought his compliment was sus and gave him the side eye. So he said, "Baby girl, chill. God sent me to tell you you've passed his vibe check. And low-key, he wants you to have the main character. You name him Jesus and they will all say, he's him." She said, "How can this be since I promised him my body count will always be 0? Respectfully. He said, "This ain't about cuffing season, for the Holy Spirit will live rent-free in you and your boy Jesus will be a divine bro. Besides, your cousin Elizabeth is with child, she who is already older than a boomer and whose husband is way past beekeeping age." So Mary said, "Bet." Gabriel left her on red and she let the Holy Spirit cook.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
That's funny. In my head, I have this visual of them in their just like biblical clothing. You know, they're like old clothes talking like this, and it just doesn't even compute. That's hilarious.
Really does it. We need the whole nativity.
Hey, yo, what's up, G?
This is my nativity this Christmas.
Seriously, could you imagine? I bet the whole ward would come if that's what that was.
Literally. Oh my gosh. I saw that. I was dying.
Hey, yo, we got to get to the manger.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Have you heard of this secret? Ooh, okay, you know.
I don't know.
I see this and I'm like, this is a joke because where's the budget? Like, this is an iPhone video, right?
Right.
I'll bring it to your knees, baby, you're gonna believe.
And then I see the Hulu, I'm like, what?
On Hulu is crazy. I could see it being like a YouTube type of series or something. But the fact that Hulu is reaching out and putting this together is unreal.
Unreal. So did you follow like all the swinger drama?
A little bit. I like kind of heard about it a little bit, but I don't know too much about it.
Okay. Well, let me loop you in because I was 9 months pregnant in my bed and it was all happening and I was I was like, what is going on?
Like, I can sleuth though, so if I'm trying to figure things out and connect ties, you know I will.
Right. So that's one of the girls. Taylor was like the main one in all this swinger drama. And I guess like there was talks about her like at the time, this was like 2 years ago, like of her being on like Real Housewives of Salt Lake or like possibly getting her own show. And like now I guess it's finally coming to fruition.
Yeah.
So like this is an actual show that's going to be on Hulu. The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, coming September 6th. Weird. I've watched all these like little intros and it's all kind of cast introductions. We don't get a lot of like what the show is going to be. I mean, I'm imagining it's going to be a reality show kind of following them. Like, I'm like, how is that going to be really different from Real Housewives of Salt Lake, though? They seem younger. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
My biggest take on it is that I don't think it's a super accurate representation of Mormon wives, you know? Or what that looks like. Mm-hmm. And I think it almost drives this delusion of what people think Mormon wives are like, or what Utah Mormon wives. You always hear like the Draper moms or the like that stigma. And so I think that's my bone to pick with it probably.
Totally.
Is this is not reality. And
Right.
it's just to stir, and just, of course, they throw the church in there to make it like, and they're all Mormon, you know, and everyone else is like this too. Like, that's kind of what it feels like.
Oh,
I'm like,
totally.
whoa. I'm sorry. Not all of us are like that, you know?
Right.
And I'm not a Mormon wife yet, but I can see the ones around me in my life, and I'm like, that is just not accurate.
Right.
So I think my frustration with it is just that they're heavily pushing that they're Mormon. But these videos, there's not one thing that talks about like Christ in there.
Right.
So it's
Which
like,
is the central focus of our church, actually.
yes. And so it really just makes us look really bad.
Right. And it's like, I feel like people are in the comments like, look what they're wearing. They're not wearing their garments. They're obviously not Mormon. And it's like, I'm not one to say like, oh, you can't say that you're a member of the church because you're not wearing garments, because we all go through our own spiritual journeys. And it's
Right.
like, okay, I respect that. Like, you can say you're a member. Like, I'm not going to be mad at them for saying that, but I
Right.
feel like exactly what you said. If someone's watching this show and they're like, okay, this is how Mormon wives are, and then
Yeah.
they fly to Utah, they're going to be very surprised because they're going to see just normal
People.
moms like
Yeah.
like me, or like normal, like, I don't know.
I think it
like,
discredits how hard like these wives work and these moms work.
Yes.
And it's like,
yeah.
I'm sure they're great girls. They're probably awesome. But
Totally.
just the whole depiction of it is for publicity. It's for fame. It's not.
They're using the church's name
Yes.
for the clout.
It's not true to what the gospel of Jesus Christ is.
right.
And that's where I think it's weird.
Totally. It's like, I get they don't want to do a show about like the doctrine, but like, I just feel like they use the name of the church so much for the clickbait of it. Like,
Yes.
I remember I started watching The Real Housewives of Salt Lake when it first came out.
Yeah.
And I was like just so bugged because like, I think just like one of them in the cast was a member.
Yeah.
And like people online debate, like, is she even active? I'm like, whatever, I don't care. If she says she's a member, she's a member, whatever.
Right.
But the fact that like in every B-roll shot between scenes, it's like a church
Yeah.
or a temple. And I'm like, they're not even like talking about, but like they're using that in every preview and every,
Weird.
like they're just like utilizing it to make their show seem different. And I'm like, can
Yeah.
you not think, like, get a little creative, like come
Right.
up with something else that can sell your
But
show.
people eat that up.
They
That's the thing.
do.
And
And
even,
so
I mean,
it's
it's
just
drawing
not-
so much attention, whether it's
Right.
positive or negative attention. Everyone's like, what is this?
Totally.
These TikTok swinger girls, like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
You know, like,
so like I get it. It's the
working.
drama. It's
what they want to
working.
work is working.
It's
but
just not an accurate depiction, which again is not what they're going for. But anyone who thinks this is what Utah moms are actually like, they will be surprised if they come and meet actual Utah moms, if they
Yep.
go into any ward in Utah on Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, sure, there
Yeah.
might be some, but that's not everyone.
I think it shows too, like, it's so important for us to all have our own like relationship with God too, because if we start to mentally associate ourselves with something that's just publicized by Hulu or by the media or anything, then we'll start to like, it's easy to start to rope yourself into that. Oh, well, I'm Mormon. Am I this way? I don't know.
No,
Am
it's
I?
so. Should I be this way?
Yeah,
like
where it's
yeah.
like your personal testimony is so you know, and it's that's where you become the strongest. It's not because you watch some show about some wives dancing around to TikTok songs and
totally
stuff, but it's comical. It's
it
funny.
really is.
I'm
we'll
like,
see. I mean, I'll watch it. I'll see what it's about. It's coming out soon, so
I know it'll be interesting.
stay tuned.
It's like, I drank a coffee today. Just kidding. Oh, she's crazy.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Okay, let's do. Okay, well, I want to get to with our last couple minutes. I do just want to watch some of yours that I've saved and kind
Okay.
of give you just like a little chance to
This would be funny to see it
talk
from
on
this
it.
side.
on the big screen.
On the big screen.
You've made it.
I'm nervous.
Okay, where are you? Oh, here you are.
Right
Okay.
there.
Okay, let's be so honest today. Today's run was so hard. I went out and I was like, I'm gonna run 6 miles today. Started running, started going. My heart rate started skyrocketing at a like average pace for me. It's super hot outside. I started running and I was like, shoot, I think I'm literally only gonna run 3 miles. Like, this is brutal, this is so hard. And then It's seriously just slowing down and getting through the reps, doing the next one, doing the next one. Once I got to 3, I was like, okay, just got to get to 4. Once I got to 4, just got to get to 5. Once I got to 5, just got to get to 6. And that's actually how you build endurance, is when you don't want to go one more, you just go one more. So rough day, but I feel accomplished. I feel good. I made it to 6 miles. It wasn't easy by any means, but I feel really good about it. So another day in the office.
Okay, you're so cute. And like watching this, I was like, I am so proud of her.
Thanks.
No, and like literally, like I was watching this and I was like, this like, does this not apply to so many gospel principles?
So
the
many.
same way too, right?
That is so funny. It's funny in this video, you can tell I just finished. I'm like,
And
so
you look
anyways,
great.
thank you. But I love this principle. I actually took it. Do you know who Ed Milet is? He's this big entrepreneur and I love his podcast, but he has a book called The Power of One More. And it's amazing. And he's this Christian guy. He's awesome. Like his podcasts are super clean. And so he's been one guy that I've always kind of promoted or pushed on my own page just because I love him. But he has this book that's The Power of One More. And it's so awesome when you take it into any principle of your life because it's just that one extra step out of your comfort zone. But if you continuously do just one more, then you'll get exponentially further.
Totally.
Than just, okay, I'm not going to do that today. You know,
Right.
I can do 1 more minute on the treadmill. Okay. Then the next day, oh, wait, I did this yesterday. I can do 1 more minute. That's it. And it's so simple, small and simple things, right?
Yes.
So many gospel principles too, you know? Okay, I'll just do this.
Absolutely.
I'll read 1 more page of my scriptures today.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I need today. I'll make the extra phone call to someone that might need me, even though it's kind of awkward and I haven't talked to them in forever. But
Oh, I love that so much.
that video is vulnerable. It's pretty funny. I'm just
No,
like, I'm dying.
I love that you're like putting yourself out there though, because
Well, thank you.
like I'm sure it resonates with so many people.
Thank you.
Okay, let's do. I love this so much, and I would love to
forgot about
hear
that
like
one.
more from you about this.
Well, I don't know why that like made me emotional. I'm like, why am I like, I forgot about all my fun memories and my people, but I love the gospel. Oh my gosh. I love the gospel and everything that I've learned and just being raised in it. Like you just hear the worst of the worst things sometimes, you know, and the worst stigmas. And I'm so grateful I was raised in the gospel, and just the older I've gotten, my testimony's gotten way more personal. I actually got endowed. It's been almost 2 years now. So
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
yes,
That's so
I
great.
got endowed December of 2022.
Okay.
And I haven't gone on a mission. I am not married. So those are kind of a lot of the reasons why people will go. I just got in a really good habit of attending the temples, and there's all those different temple clips in there. And I made it a goal every single week to go visit a new one. So it was fun because I would do like baptisms throughout the week, but Sundays were my day because usually Sundays would be a huge family dinner day. And since I'm not from here, I'm like, okay, Sundays can feel a little bit lonely sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm single. I don't have a ton of family close. So I made it my own personal goal where I would go to a new temple. We have so many in Utah. And I would just go sit around the temple. I'd go on like my walk around the temple, journal, and just like really spend time on the grounds. And it was funny because they're actually closed on Sunday. And so I would just like walk the grounds, and sometimes the gates would be open, sometimes they wouldn't. But it felt so personal to me, where that was where I was like, I'm learning so much and just feeling the peace of just even being on the temple grounds. And I was consistently doing baptisms, and I was like, I just want to learn more, and I just want to invest more of my time here and be able to get all the blessings of the temple. And so then about October was when I started just prepping to get endowed. And then I got endowed in the Boise temple with my family over Christmas break. And
incredible.
it was just so special. And I genuinely, I would recommend it to anybody. Also, just since it's been almost 2 years, I've learned so much, and there's a lot that I still don't know and I'm still trying to understand. But this video specifically, I feel like it's cool because a lot of times I feel the spirit in the temple, but I feel the spirit differently being outside of the temple. And so a lot of the things in church or just in the temple or through my own personal study, you learn all the principles and you learn the things that align you and keep your life in line and what brings you joy. But if you never go try to live a joyful, happy life and apply the principles, then what is it for?
Right.
And so this video makes me actually really happy just because it's so special, just being around so many amazing people and just feeling Christ's light in so many different people. Yeah. So this video is like, I have a clip of me running, a clip of just with friends, but it's my relationship with God and just my time in the temple's different than what it is when I'm with my friends, but you still feel the same spirit when you're surrounded by the right people.
Gosh, I love. Now I'm gonna get emotional.
I'm like, this video's sweet. I love everyone in this
so much, and I like. Thank you for sharing like your experience with like making that decision to go through the temple, because I feel like that is something we know you can do as a young woman, but usually it's like you said, like when you're going on a mission or getting married. And so hearing that from you is so special. And I really hope it reaches people, because I felt the spirit so strong as you were talking about that.
Thank you. It's definitely new. I feel like it's new for more girls to be like, I'm just going to do this, you know, and separate it even just from your marriage too, because it's a completely different ordinance. And it's incredible. I love it. So many good things in the temple. So many great times, great blessings. But
well, thank you again for sharing and like sharing so much with us. It's been so fun to talk with you. Honestly, that flew by.
I know, went quick. I'm like, we've been talking forever.
I know. Is there anything else like that you want to share with everyone?
I don't think so.
Besides that you're single, ready to mingle.
Just kidding. No, thank you so much for having me. This has been so fun. Seriously.
No, it has been so fun. And if people want to stay in touch with you, where can they follow you?
Yeah. Instagram. I feel like I'm on Instagram the most. I'm also on TikTok. It's just Lizzie.Ramey. So
awesome.
But Instagram, if you have questions, don't be afraid to reach out or contact me if you're running any marathons these days.
Yes.
I love it. And I do my best to respond as much as I can. So I just have a good time. It just feels like a little culture community. So
totally.
I love new friends. If you're in the area, reach out. We'll have a good time.
I love that. Well, thank you again so much. And let us know if you have any thoughts on the episode. We want to hear any questions for Lizzie. But this was great. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.